What is up, guys? Archon tonight. I'm here bringing you guys another YouTube video. And in today's video, I'm going to be starting the first mask of the series, and this is Mask of the Long Night. Normally when I record these, I will record them in real time while I'm doing them and give you guys tips as it happens. But unfortunately, when I was recording this particular video, the audio didn't capture correctly, so I'm going back and doing a overview of it. So it should still be a decent guide. It just won't be happening in real time. So whenever I react to something in real time, it's a lot different than when I'm reviewing the footage. I apologize for that, and going forward, the other videos will be done in real time. I thought about going back and just re-recording this, but unfortunately it costs 10,000 coalescing visions in order to do one, and with it being Monday and Tuesday being the rollover for Stormwind, I would have to wait an entire week to even do it. And it's already going to be a long series anyway because I plan on doing all of the masks in the room, and then I plan on doing the pairs as well. So I'm going to pair each of the masks up and do every, type of order for both Stormwind and Orgrimmar. So with that out of the way, the next couple of videos will be done in real time, and they will be a bit more, reactive than what this one will be. So anyway, we're doing Mask of the Long Night, and what Long Night is basically when you equip it, it cuts your sanity in half. So if you happen to have done the group side of the talent tree where you get the extra sanity for each of your party members, you'll have a minimum of 575. If you don't have that tree, you'll have a minimum of 500. And while that sounds terrible, it's not, and I'll explain why. Your cloak, as it levels up, gives you N'Zoth resistance while you're in here, or sanity reduction resistance. And at 12, which I believe is what the current week is at, you have literally no sanity loss. As you can see here, I'm not really losing a lot of sanity, and I'm still able to do gigantic pulls. As we do mask pairs, this will change, obviously. There's a couple of masks that make it really hard to do big pulls like this, but we'll go over that more when I start doing the mask pairs. So for Long Night, what you want to do mainly is you want to focus on cleaning up the mobs like you normally would. Try to get through it as fast as possible. There's really no penalty for big pulls, as long as you're running it by itself. As you can see here, I'm still going to do like a full clear like I have been, try to get as many corrupted mementos as I can. There's Naros. I always try to grab his buff if he's there. If not, I run over to the bar where Gammon is and always grab that buff instead. The buffs are really nice to have. They're not important, but they are nice to have. They give you, in this case, Naros gives an extra 10% to your damage, and if you're doing big AoE pulls, I don't need to tell you that that's a lot of extra help, especially with the talent tree also giving you a bunch of extra damage. So before you even start a mask run, I would say at least have down to the very end, and was it Gift of the Titans, I believe is what it's called. At least have that. You don't need to fill out the entire board to start doing masks. You at least need to have Gift of the Titans, though, I would say. It will definitely save you in the long run. Because with it, if you don't want to do a full clear and you just want to go for the mask run and just complete it and kill all the bosses, you probably wouldn't even need to use an orb with a rank 12 cloak. The reason I end up using orbs here is just for safety, because Rexxar hits like a truck with sanity loss. All of his pets do a lot of damage, and I just typically like to burn Rexxar down. I don't feel like playing around with him and, having his pets drain my sanity, especially with Long Night being what it is. Being at 550 sanity is where I'm at here. I don't think I quite have the rank 3 for the extra sanity for your team. He still does suck to fight. As always, make sure to pay attention to your affixes at the top. This week it's the bugs for Orgrimmar on both the level 1 wings. The lost wings for level 3 or whatever you want to call them, or level 2, are some type of fear circle, and then an image appears of you, and then it shoots out, and if it touches you, it fears you. So it's pretty easy. It's probably the easiest lost area affix that we've had so far. There's nothing too bad about it. Next week, I don't know what Stormwind's going to have. Obviously, I won't know what Orgrimmar is going to have when it comes back around either. So, again, that's why I'm doing the commentary again. I'd rather not waste the footage if I already have it. So, again, in here, big pulls. Do what you can. Grab the totems in order. Try to pull everything to the next totem that you need to get. If you're not doing full clears, you don't have to go to the backside like I did. I happened to get knocked off the platform and just get stuck here for a second. Can't get back up. I was trying to Path of Frost so I could climb back up. So as you can see, get all the totems. And we're still doing pretty good on sanity. We haven't even gone below half. Elite Extermination is nice for the long mask too. Because if you do it correctly, you'll basically cap your sanity back by killing an elite mob. And that's what you should be shooting for, is to use the elite mobs in order to gain sanity instead of having to use your orbs. you don't want to kill a rare mob with like 400 sanity because you're losing an extra 100 that you could otherwise be using elsewhere. So if that's the case, I would try to kite the elite mob and try to kill as many things in the area until you're, around the 300 mark or whatever mark your sanity would be maxed out to if you added 200 to it. As you can see here, that's kind of what I'm doing. At about half, I'm probably looking at about 250, maybe 275. So I'm at about 275 sanity right now. For the first boss here, it's pretty easy. He's actually probably the easiest boss in here. You just cleave him down, do as much damage as humanly possible. If you have spell warding or anything like that, like I said in the original Orgrimmar guide, be sure to use that. It will keep his hopelessness off of you, so you don't have to waste time chasing the orb and, losing control of your character. Always dodge the waves. Those are priority, especially when you have 500 sanity. And those will always be priority no matter what, and the upcoming masks as well. You'll see in the Daredevil Mask video that'll be up after this one why that's a big deal. So grab a treasure chest. I'd grab it like anything you can grab, like treasure chests and all that, just because there's really no penalty for grabbing the mementos. If you're running a mask, you also get more mementos per run. So if you combine masks, you can obviously get a bunch of mementos, finish out your board really quick. So that's a big benefit to clearing. The only downside is that all the enemies have 25% more damage and 25% more health. It's not really noticeable if you're running only one mask, though. As you can see, I'm still basically cleaving through them like butter. In here, I like to pull all the mobs. I think even in a full mask run, I could probably get away with doing this. The mobs do hurt a bit, but as an Unholy DK, you have Death Strike. You have survivability as an Unholy DK. Some classes that don't have survivability may not want to do that if they're going to run multiple masks. I will say that now in this video. Always play it safe if you're not sure. This guy is pretty easy. He just tosses you and then jumps to you, and that's how you lose sanity from him. As you can see, he tosses me, and he's getting ready to jump. Slide out, and just wail on him a bit. As you can see, my sanity's kind of low, but all is not lost, because once he dies, I'll get 200 back, and you can pretty much refresh your sanity bar just on the mini-bosses alone in here, especially in the lost areas. They're pretty compact. Rexar's is a little more spread out with Misha and the other big bug boss being kind of spread, but everything in this side of the wing with the escort quest is pretty tight-knit. As you can see, I'm back up to 275. So I like to go down here, grab these guys, and then bring them over to these guys, and then I like to death grip one of the dominators that are sitting over by the water into the other group of dominators and then cleave them all down. As you can see, that's what you don't want to get hit by. As I said in the original Orgrimmar guide, the Dominators have to die first because they have Touch of the Abyss, and Touch of the Abyss is very bad if you get hit by it. You can spell ward it with any type of anti-magic ability, like I said before with the Paladins and Rogues. Those are the first ones that come to mind. If you're playing a human and only one of them is casting on you, you can actually use your human passive, Every Man for Himself, and it'll free you as well. Unfortunately, it's a 3-minute cooldown, though, so if you have to use it on one of them and another one starts casting it and you can't get the interrupt off, you're going to get stunned again, and it's probably going to kill you, realistically. This guy's pretty easy. Just keep moving around him. All you got to do is move around in a circle. I try kiting him backwards. You don't want to do that when he starts casting, because if you do that, you have a higher chance of getting hit by the swirlies that appear in front of him. As you can see, we're back up to 275 again. You just really want to micromanage your sanity and make sure that you're bouncing back and forth. This guy's pretty easy as well. Just sidestep his beam that he shoots straight out, and then just stand on top of him. That's pretty much the fight. If you have to, you don't want to touch the orb like I did there. That will hurt a lot when you start combining masks. But all in all, another easy general fight. As you can see, my sanity's dipping again. We still have the safety net as well. If you equip a mask, you still, like I said, have access to all your talents. So if you went on the left side of the talent tree and have your free revive, you'll still get that. So you don't have to worry about losing it. If you have it, I would say you could probably get away with playing a little more risky, because you'll still have the 3 orbs, potentially. And you only really need 2 of them, I would say. I would use 1 for Rexar, and then I'd use 1 for the start of the Thrall fight. Otherwise, you have 1 to spare as well, if things go wrong. As you can see, take the orb back, like I said in the other video. You never want to walk back in Orgrimmar. Stormwind's the only one where you don't take the orb back from a lost area, or the portal, unless you're getting ready to fight the final boss, depending on what wing you're in. As you can see, grab all the mobs, get slowed. I believe it's desynchronized here. So desynchronized is really nice because it gives you a gigantic haste buff sometimes. As you see now, I'm getting a haste buffed and just cleaving everything down. It also increases your move speed, which helps a bit, as does the Gift of the Titans. So we're really not dipping too far below. I believe it's this run where I make a mistake in this next wing. What you don't want to do in this next wing is you don't want to pull really, really big, because apparently there's multiple things that stun you, and I didn't know this outside of the Dominator. I think this big guy here has a stun. Either that or something else has a stun, and I just have yet to figure out what it is. Always make sure you're jumping, paying attention to your bugs. So he'll push you back down the cliff, or the hill there. And you can actually use that to pull these mobs a lot faster than what you normally would be able to. I don't mind, like I said, doing the big pull here. If I have AMS up, I'll pop AMS, and I'll just, pop that and Icebound, and then I can't be stunned. So again, I'm feared here, and I don't know what's fearing me. I don't know if it's the elite mob here, or if there's another mob there that fears you. Maybe I was standing in a circle, swirly like that, and I couldn't see it. That might be what it is. So this is the other buff. If you remember when we were on the dock, there wasn't an ad. There was an ad missing from the dock. Well, that one would normally give me a buff. I can't think of what his name is. It's like Boimba or something like that. If he's not on the dock there on the other side, the portal should be up. And the portal buff is still nice to get. It's nice to get all the buffs. Offhand, I can't remember what the portal buff is. I think it's a haste buff. I believe it's a haste. Maybe it's a crit. It actually might be a crit, because Boimba's a haste buff. So I think the mage portal is a movement speed crit buff. So everything's the same. As you can see, we're still sitting at the 275 mark, doing a really good job at keeping my sanity at about the halfway point. There's no need to panic. The sanity loss in here is pretty negligible, even with having Long Night. And Tuesday, when the 13th cloak upgrade comes out, I think we get an extra sanity resistance, so it's going to be even less of a problem. We're going to push up, make sure to open the doors. For whatever reason, the NPC has to walk down to the spot before you can even interact. It's kind of annoying. You lose a little bit of time and a little bit of sanity. That's the annoying part of the escort quest here, is that the NPC has to do its role-playing in order for you to be able to fight this boss. So even though I've opened up both doors, I still have to sit here for a little while they run up. So if you don't feel comfortable with pulling him with the current sanity you're at, be sure to drop an orb here. You could use your third orb here, because like I said, you should have one overflow if you're doing everything correctly. And you're able to pull big and, burst everything down. Always, try to break the barrier if you can, otherwise you take some sanity damage. The other big thing there was his opening maneuver, Void Torment, I believe is what it's called. If you can AMS or spell word that, then you can just keep cleaving the boss. If you can't, you get stunned and you're playing human, or a class that has a stun break, you can do that instead, and you'll still be able to break free and not take sanity damage. That's a big thing to keep in mind. Like I said, we're still bouncing at 275. That's about where you want to be in here. You don't want to overcap, otherwise Elite Extermination doesn't get its full value. Misha's up next, so again, not worried about sanity here. We kite Misha, pull big. The bugs in here do have a stun, so you want to be kind of careful of that. The headbutt's also a big problem. If you happen to be kiting them and you get headbutted like up against the wall there, you will get knocked out of bounds, and if you get knocked out of bounds, you die. You have some time to get back in, but it's not a whole lot. And there's certain spots where you can't climb up effectively, so you end up taking a bunch of damage and dying. So always be careful. Always keep your back to an open zone, so if you get headbutted, you can get back in. Grab these bugs. They're guarding a treasure chest, which always have mementos in them. Never a bad option, like I said, to grab all the chests that you can. The bugs aren't too hard. They die pretty quick. I do know that these bugs do. The Venom Bite, I believe that they cast, has a stun on it. I think the big guys also have a stun on them. They can also use Venom Bite, so be careful. Again, pull big. If you don't have stun resistance up, I wouldn't pull too big here. If you do have a stun resistance or an immunity that you can use, I would pull as big as you want and just try to cleave them down during the immunity. In most cases, you'll be able to get them down. The little bugs there that spawn off the corpses don't do a whole lot but explode. So just let them explode, and you can do whatever you need to do. If you need to open a chest or something, kite them away from it and then walk back while they're exploding. So we're going to pull these into the big guy here. This is also an elite mod. As you can see, I'm in kind of a bad way because I got stunned. But we'll heal it back off with Death Strike, and everything's good again. We're kind of playing catch up here a little bit. I still have a free Death Strike, or a bonus healing Death Strike, which I'll use there in order to get back up. And we're still sitting at about the 275 mark. I'll activate the mailbox boss, just because we can. If you're looking for the mounts, you always want to use the mailboxes. I already got one from Orgrimmar. It's the Mail Muncher. You'll be able to tell if you're getting the Mail Muncher because it'll be an actual like rare spawn. It'll have the rare dragon icon above it, the silver. Say headbutts, stuns. I don't know. I guess the little bugs that he comes with stun me. Maybe that's what's stunning. I don't know. I've yet to figure out what stuns in that pack. I think it's the big guy, but it could be the little bugs. So always pop an orb here for Rexar. I think Rexar's probably the most dangerous boss here, especially if you're going to run Daredevil. Like I said, I'll show you more about that in the Daredevil video, which will be uploaded after this one. So as long as you're sitting in the orb, you don't have to deal with the affix, you don't take any sanity damage, and you can just sit there and face tank Rexar and burn him down. Usually you can get him down before the orb expires, but as you use more masks and he gets more HP, that's going to be harder and harder to do. Take the orb back, don't want to walk back. That's a big thing, never ever walk back on Orgrimmar. As you can see, we're flying across, and we're pretty much ready to take on Thrall. You have enough time to kind of wander. I still have 2 orbs here. So if I wanted to, I could go make sure that I cleared the zones correctly. What I'm doing here is I actually go back and show you guys where the boss, or the extra buff ad, I'll just call him a buff ad, where he's at, because he didn't show this time. I wanted to clarify for anybody who was curious about what I was talking about with the circle dock. But I'm sure you guys have seen him before. What he likes to do is he likes to cast lightning or twisted lightning, and then if you interrupt it, he immediately polymorphs you. So that's the guy you're looking for. So as you go around the dock here, it's right about where that hut is on the right where I'm standing now. You'll see the ad be right there. That's how you know if you have the buff on this side or the other side. If he's not there on this side when you're clearing it, that means the mage portal should be open for you guys to use. So now we're going to go back to Thrall. And pretty much just clear this whole entire thing. The Long Night Mask, I know it sounds scary, like I said, with the 200 or the half your sanity being taken from you thing, but it's really not that scary. As long as you use Elite Extermination correctly, it's pretty much a cakewalk. And any boss that you're really worried about, you can just drop an orb before it, stand in the orb and pull it, and you'll just be able to cleave it right down. So now I'm showing you guys which way Gammon is. Sorry. That's not where Gammon is. It's the next room over. I accidentally made a mistake and was thinking that it was the right side, but it's actually this room right here. You'll see Gammon upstairs. You can probably see his nameplate through the wall, depending on what nameplate you're running. So if Narcos isn't up in the forge, go to that building I was just at, and you'll find Gammon in there for the 10% health buff. So on to Thrall. I think they buffed Thrall because I don't remember there being 2 Void pets. I'm pretty sure there was only 1, but I could be wrong on that. Always resummon your pet if you're a pet class. Whenever you take the orb back, sometimes your pet will disappear. For desynchronized, I almost don't think you should stand in the orb. But at the same time, it is a big trade-off for, losing the ability to just sit there and face tank. The reason I would say that is because you actually lose desynchronize while you're standing in the orb, and desynchronize is a lot of damage if you're in the haste mode. As you can see, I'm just dealing a bunch of damage to the boss here. I'm actually able to cut through his barrier, whereas if I got the slow version of desynchronize, as you're seeing now, I wouldn't be able to cut through that. So as I said in Orgrimmar, the big thing here is just don't stand in front of him when he's doing defiled ground. Otherwise, he does that, and then you stand in it and you take damage and sanity loss. He does the Cries of the Void thing only once, so you only have to worry about it once. I would save your big cooldowns for Cries of the Void or whatever it is, the big shield that goes on him. It's a lot harder to break than it is on the boss that initially uses it. And just stay out of the circles, and that's pretty much all that fight is. So, Long Night complete. There really isn't any big secret to Long Night, just Elite Extermination is probably the biggest thing, min-maxing that. Always saving your orbs. As you can see, I got 2 masks for completing the run. That's how you get the masks. I don't know if the other two are unlocked by completing Stormwind with Long Night on, which is what I'm going to try tomorrow when everything comes through. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the guide. Sorry, this one's not done in real time as I'm completing the horrific vision. It's just the audio got bugged and didn't capture correctly, and I wanted to go back through and redo a voiceover for you guys rather than wasting the footage. Plus, like I said, it's 10,000 coalescing visions, and you can usually get like 3 a week. And if I'm going to do 3 more next week for Stormwind, I would rather be able to do all the single masks within 2 weeks. Because I'm going to do another set for Stormwind with all 3 masks, showing you guys how to get through that, because Stormwind is so different from Orgrimmar. I think that's a good way to help people who are struggling with the masks. And then eventually I'll start doing pairs, and then we'll start doing full clears. I don't know how far I'm going to take the mask clears, like if I'm going to do 3s and then 4s and then whatnot, but we'll see. If you guys have any particular mask combinations you would like to see down below, be sure to comment and let me know now. It doesn't matter what video you let me know on, whether it's Long Night, whether it's Daredevil, or the other 3 masks. Just let me know what combination you guys want to see first, and I will go ahead and I will put that video up for you guys and give you guys a guide on how to clear it and some tips and ideas, just so that way you guys have a reference point for how I'm clearing it. If you guys have any other questions at all outside of the masks and just generally want to know about horrific visions, I do have the other guide up. What mobs are dangerous, what mobs aren't. I try to go over each video to let you guys know which ones are important, which ones aren't, just so that way if you're not watching the other videos, you guys can still see and understand which ones to worry about. So I know it sounds a little repetitive if you're watching each of the videos, but I apologize. I'm trying to, help everybody out who may not have seen the other videos rather than just having them go back and watch the entire set. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I'm going to post my Twitch down below if you guys want to come hang out. If you have any questions about World of Warcraft, feel free to come in there and ask me. You can also post in the comments and I'll answer them as best I can. Usually when I'm streaming other games, I have no problem answering questions about World of Warcraft, if you guys still need help with anything. Also, if you want to help me out, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys have a Twitch Prime that you're not using. I won't ask you to sub with actual money, but if you, like I said, you have a Twitch Prime that you're just not using, and you have the account linked and you're just, hanging on to it for whatever reason, I would greatly appreciate it if you'd consider using it on my channel. Outside of that, I'll link the Discord and the Twitter below as well, so you guys can see when I go live if you guys have any interest in that. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, some Overwatch, Rocket League, Hearthstone Battlegrounds. I'd like to start doing Hearthstone Battlegrounds with chat. I think that would be pretty fun, allowing people to come in and hang out and just, generally interact, because that's what Twitch is all about. It's a lot of fun interacting with you guys and hanging out. Anyway, catch you guys in the next video. Later.